In this video, we're going to explore PHP logical operators. These operators are essential for implementing Boolean logic in PHP. We'll cover the AND or NOT and XOR operators. So let's dive in and understand how to use them effectively in PHP. Let's begin with the AND operator, represented by two ampersands, and. The AND operator returns true only when both operands are true. Here's an example. We define two variables, $a is true and $b is false. The expression $a and $b evaluates to false because not both variables are true. Conversely, the expression true and true evaluates to true. Next, we'll look at the OR operator, represented by two vertical bars. The OR operator returns true when at least one of the operands is true. For example, if we have $a is true and $b is false, the expression $a or $b evaluates to true because at least one of the variables is true. However, the expression false or false evaluates to false. Now, let's explore the NOT operator, represented by an exclamation mark. The NOT operator reverses the Boolean value of its operand, meaning true becomes false and false becomes true. For example, if $a is true, not $a evaluates to false. If $b is false, not $b evaluates to true. The XOR operator is represented by the keyword XOR. This operator returns true when exactly one of the operands is true. It's an exclusive OR. Let's see how it works. Given $a is true and $b is false, the expression $x or $b evaluates to true because only one operand is true. However, if both $a and $b are true, then the expression $x or $b evaluates to false. Here's a truth table summarizing the behavior of these logical operators. The table shows all possible combinations of inputs A and B, and the corresponding outputs for A and B, A or B, not A and XOR B. If A is true and B is true, A and B is true, A or B is true, not A is false, and XOR B is false. If A is true and B is false, A and B is false, A or B is true, not A is false, and XOR B is true. If A is false and B is true, A and B is false, A or B is true, not A is true, and XOR B is true. If A is false and B is false, A and B is false, A or B is false, not A is true, and XOR B is false. Let's look at a practical example of how logical operators are used in real-world scenarios. Imagine we have an age variable set to 25 and a has license variable set to true. We can then use the AND operator to determine if a person can drive, by checking if their age is greater than or equal to 18 and they have a license. For a second example, suppose we want to check if it's a free day, by checking if it's a weekend or a holiday. Here are some key points to remember about logical operators in PHP. The AND operator, represented by two ampersands, requires both conditions to be true. The OR operator, represented by two vertical bars, requires at least one condition to be true. The NOT operator, represented by an exclamation mark, reverses the Boolean value. The XOR operator, written as XOR, requires exactly one condition to be true. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.